I married a billionaire to save my family, but the cries from his forbidden wing revealed his darkest secret. A story of passion tangled with fear, and a heart chained by the darkness it mistook for love. Part 2. The woman's name had been Patricia, though she said that name felt like it belonged to someone who had died long ago, leaving only this hollow shell behind. She had been Sir Benjamin's first wife, married 15 years past when she was young and beautiful, and foolish enough to believe that wealth could buy happiness. For 2 years she had lived much as Tracy lived now, in comfort and confusion, showered with gifts, but never quite treated as a person with her own thoughts and dreams. Then she had become curious about the locked rooms and the midnight rituals, about the visitors who came when decent people were sleeping, about the source of Sir Benjamin's seemingly endless fortune. The night she had confronted him with her questions, he had put something in her wine that made the world go soft and distant. When she woke, she was in chains in this hidden room, and Sir Benjamin stood over her explaining the truth with the patience of a teacher instructing a slow student. His wealth, he told her, did not come from business skill or inherited fortune or lucky investments. It came from sacrifice, from the ancient practice of feeding human suffering to spirits that hunted in darkness and rewarded their servants with prosperity. These spirits, which some called Ogwu and others called by names older than language, required payment for the power they granted. The payment was always the same: a life bound in endless suffering, a soul trapped between death and living, generating pain like a mill grinds grain into flour. Patricia was to have been that payment, slowly drained of life and hope, until nothing remained but an empty husk. But something had gone wrong with the ritual. Perhaps she had been stronger than expected. Perhaps the spirit had been greedier than anticipated. And instead of dying slowly over months, she had become stuck in a terrible in-between state. Not dead enough to complete the transaction, not alive enough to be free. So Sir Benjamin had locked her away, keeping her suffering contained in this hidden room where her misery could continue feeding his fortune without anyone knowing she still existed. He told the world I died in an accident abroad, Patricia said, her voice carrying the weight of 13 years of darkness. He even held a funeral. People mourned. And all the while I was here, screaming where no one could hear me, existing only to be the fuel that kept his machinery of exploitation running. Tracy wanted to call her mad, to reject this story as the delusion of a mind broken by isolation, but Patricia knew things she should not have known. The birthmark on Zara's ankle shaped like a crescent moon, the pattern of Tracy's daily routines, the names of servants who had been hired after Patricia's supposed death. And when Patricia lifted her ragged dress to show her own ankle, Tracy saw the same crescent mark, identical in shape and placement. "It is not a birthmark," Patricia explained. "It is a brand, placed on us before birth by forces that claim us for harvest. Sir Benjamin's mother had it. His grandmother had it. Back through generations, marking the women chosen to be sacrificed so their suffering could buy prosperity for men who learned how to bargain with darkness." Tracy felt the room spin around her, felt her understanding of reality crack and reshape into something more terrible than she had imagined. She thought of her beautiful daughter, marked from birth for this same fate, designated as future fuel for her father's fortune. She thought of herself, branded and bound and sold by her parents who had not known what they were truly selling. And she thought of all the women throughout history who had been told they were loved when they were really just livestock being fattened for slaughter. For 3 days after discovering Patricia, Tracy moved through her life like a woman walking in a dream from which she desperately wished to wake. She fed her children breakfast with hands that shook, read them stories while her mind spun with horror, tucked them into bed while wondering if she was putting them to sleep in a house that fed on suffering like a beast feeds on meat. She returned to the hidden room each night, bringing food and water and clean clothes to Patricia, listening to stories that painted Sir Benjamin as a monster wearing a gentleman's mask. Patricia told her about the network, a web of wealthy men spanning the country and beyond, all practicing the same ancient rituals, all sacrificing women to maintain their power. They met regularly to compare techniques and share knowledge, teaching each other how to maximize suffering for optimal prosperity, how to hide the evidence, how to ensure the system perpetuated itself through generations. Sir Benjamin had learned from his father, who had learned from his grandfather, in an unbroken chain of exploitation going back centuries. The women were always chosen young for their beauty and their birthmarks, and married under circumstances that looked like good fortune, but were actually carefully constructed traps. Your parents did not sell you knowing what they were doing, Patricia said. They were shown only what Sir Benjamin wanted them to see. A wealthy man offering salvation, a chance for their daughter to escape poverty and give their family a better life. They could not have known he was really purchasing livestock for a ritual that would eventually consume their grandchild. Tracy wanted to run, to grab her children and flee in the night, to put as much distance between herself and this house of horrors as possible. But Patricia stopped her with words heavy as chains. If you run now, he will find you. His network has resources beyond imagination. Police who are paid to look the other way, officials who owe him favors, private investigators who can find anyone anywhere. And when he catches you, he will take Zara and do to her what he tried to do to me, while you watch from your own hidden room. The only way to survive is to destroy him first. So they began to plan. Patricia had spent 13 years in darkness with nothing to do but think, and her mind had not been idle. She knew where Sir Benjamin kept his ritual implements, knew when he performed his ceremonies, knew the structure of the network and who its key members were. She told Tracy about the pot, an ancient clay vessel kept in a shrine room in the basement, sealed with wax and covered in symbols that hurt to look at directly. This pot was the heart of Sir Benjamin's power, the container that held all the suffering he had harvested and transformed into prosperity. Destroy the pot, Patricia said, and you destroy his power. Break the vessel, and the spirits he has bound will turn on him instead, collecting the debt he owes in a single terrible moment rather than spread across years of a woman's slow dying. It sounded like madness, like something from a folktale told to frighten children. But Tracy had seen the hidden room, had met the woman who should have been dead, had found the photographs in Sir Benjamin's study showing generations of marked women who had all mysteriously disappeared after bearing marked daughters. The evidence was impossible to deny. When Sir Benjamin returned from his business trip, Tracy greeted him with a smile that felt like it would crack her face. She laughed at his jokes, listened to his stories, accepted his gifts with apparent gratitude. And all the while she was watching him with new eyes, seeing not a husband but a predator, not a provider but a parasite who built his fortune on the broken backs of women's society taught to be grateful for golden cages. Tracy chose the night of the full moon, for Patricia had told her this was when Sir Benjamin's power was strongest but also most vulnerable, when the pot would be active and full of the energy he had harvested through suffering. She spent the day in careful preparation, moving through the house as if this were any normal day, playing with the children in the garden, discussing menus with the cook, reviewing accounts with the steward. But inside, she was counting hours like a prisoner counts days until freedom. That evening, she prepared Sir Benjamin's favourite meal with her own hands, sending the cook away with a story about wanting to surprise her husband with her domestic skills. Into the soup, she stirred powder she had ground from sleeping tablets purchased from 3 different pharmacies over the past weeks, enough to render an elephant unconscious but mixed so thoroughly that no taste would betray its presence. Sir Benjamin ate with appreciation, complimenting her cooking, discussing plans for the children's future education with the casual assurance of a man who believed his power was unshakable. Halfway through the meal, his words began to slur. He tried to stand, but his legs would not support him. Confusion flickered across his face, followed by the beginning of understanding, and finally by fear as he recognized betrayal in the wife he had thought properly broken to his will. "What have you done?" he managed to gasp before the drugs pulled him down into darkness. Tracy watched him fall with no expression at all. Then she dragged his unconscious body down the stairs, through the corridors, into the basement where the shrine room waited like a mouth open to swallow light. Patricia was already there, having used the keys Tracy had provided to free herself from the hidden room where she had been trapped for 13 years. She stood before the shrine, a space that seemed to exist outside normal geometry, where shadows fell at angles that hurt the eyes and the air tasted of old blood and older promises. The walls were covered in symbols that moved when you did not look directly at them. And in the center of the room, on a pedestal of carved stone, sat the pot. It was smaller than Tracy had expected from Patricia's descriptions, no larger than a cooking vessel, but it pulsed with a heartbeat that she could feel in her chest, matching her own rhythm and trying to drag her pulse into alignment with its own dark cadence. The pot was sealed with wax that had melted and rehardened countless times, and even from a distance, Tracy could hear whispers coming from within, promises of wealth and power, offers to make her the master instead of the victim, suggestions that she could take Sir Benjamin's place and ensure her children never knew poverty. All it would cost was someone else's suffering, someone she would never have to see. Someone whose screams would be contained in clay and converted into prosperity. Tracy approached the pot slowly, each step feeling like walking through water, fighting against the current of its seductive whispers. Her hands reached out of their own accord, and when her fingers touched the clay, she saw them, all the women who had been consumed to fill this vessel. Not just Patricia, but dozens, perhaps hundreds, going back through generations. She saw their faces, heard their voices, felt their pain condensed and concentrated into this single container that turned human suffering into transferable wealth. Behind her, Sir Benjamin stirred, consciousness returning at the worst possible moment. "Do not," he croaked, his voice still thick with drugs. "You do not understand what you are doing. The power in that pot is bound by careful ritual. Break it incorrectly, and it will seek new vessels, possess anyone it touches. You could unleash something far worse than me." Tracy met Patricia's eyes across the shrine room. Two women marked for sacrifice, two women who had been reduced to currency in a system that treated their pain as profit. They nodded to each other, and in that moment, they were sisters, bound by more than blood. "Better chaos than this," Tracy said, and she lifted the pot above her head and brought it down against the stone pedestal with all her strength. The pot shattered, and with it, something fundamental in the world cracked and shifted. The sound was not loud but deep, resonating in bones and blood and the spaces between heartbeats. What spilled out was darkness, not the absence of light, but actual darkness made physical, thick as oil, moving with terrible purpose and ancient hunger. It had been contained for so long, fed but never freed, used but never satisfied. Now, suddenly, it was loose. Sir Benjamin screamed as the darkness flowed toward him like water seeking a drain, entering through his mouth and nose and eyes and ears, filling him with all the suffering he had harvested and sold and profited from through his lifetime and his father's lifetime and his grandfather's lifetime. His body convulsed, arching at impossible angles, veins standing out black against his skin like the roots of some terrible plant taking hold. The shrine room's symbols began to fade, the walls themselves seeming to crack and crumble, as if the entire structure had been held together by the pot's dark magic and was now collapsing without it. Tracy grabbed Patricia's arm and pulled her toward the door, and together they fled up the stairs and through the corridors, while behind them the basement groaned and settled like a beast dying in its lair. They found the children still sleeping peacefully in their beds, Zara curled around her favorite doll, Emmanuel clutching his blanket, and Tracy woke them gently, speaking in the calm voice she had perfected through years of hiding fear. "We are going on an adventure," she told them, "a special trip. Just the four of us." She dressed them in warm clothes, packed bags she had prepared in secret, and led them out of the mansion while Patricia followed, limping on legs that had forgotten how to walk freely. Behind them, the great house that had been built on suffering stood silent and dark. They drove through the night in Tracy's car, heading east toward the coast, toward places where Sir Benjamin's name meant nothing and his network's influence did not reach. Emmanuel fell asleep against Patricia's shoulder, accepting her presence with the easy trust of children, while Zara stared out the window at the mansion receding in the distance. "Will Daddy come find us?" the girl asked, her voice small and uncertain. Tracy met her daughter's eyes in the rearview mirror and spoke the truth. "No, baby, Daddy's gone. It is just us now." They stopped at a bridge over a fast-moving river, and there Tracy and Patricia scattered the pot's fragments into the water, watching them disappear into the current like bad dreams dissolving in morning light. Each piece that vanished felt like a chain breaking, a curse lifting, a future being rewritten. As dawn painted the sky in colours of hope, they reached a small coastal town that smelled of salt and fish and new beginnings. The official story, when it emerged in newspapers and gossip, was simple and believable. Sir Benjamin Okafor, wealthy businessman and philanthropist, had suffered a sudden stroke at age 47 and died in his study. His widow, overcome with grief, had sold the mansion and retired to the countryside with her children to heal in private. People who had envied his fortune now pitied his fate, and his funeral was attended by hundreds who praised his generosity and mourned his loss. No one thought to ask about the West Wing, and the servants who might have spoken were well paid to forget. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and captivating stories. See you in the next one.